Yeah, well, I saw the new Wuthering Heights. I must admit, I only have a passing familiarity with the source material. It's not something I've read. I'm not really the target demographic for it. I know only sort of like the broad strokes about like Heathcliff and Kathy's story. Mostly, about him disappearing for a while and coming back and purchasing the childhood home. And, I know it's like a little bit of tormenting her because, their romance is kind of forbidden, not really sort of thing. I don't know. It's not my thing. So I only just knew those broad strokes. So going into the movie, I wasn't 100% sure what to expect. So what did I think? I actually quite liked it, if I'm being honest. Most of it is very good. I find this movie to be a little frustrating, though, because as much as I liked it, I was on the verge of truly loving it. There's a few things that hold it back. But let's start with some positives, right? Let's start with positives, because it was overall a pretty positive movie-going experience for me. I think the sets are fine for what they are. I really enjoyed it. I didn't feel like I was being pulled out of time or place or anything like that. The costuming is, of course, fine. You would expect it to be. I enjoyed the acting overall. I think everybody did the really good job. The standout being Alison Oliver as Isabella. She just absolutely steals every scene she's in, and just like her character transformation throughout the movie is something to behold. She is just dynamite, absolutely dynamite. Martin Clunes, Doc Martin himself as Mr. Earnshaw was also a big standout for me. I loved him. I thought it was so funny because I just started watching Doc Martin recently, so I was like, yo, is that Doc Martin? And my family's like, we have no idea what you're talking about. Well, passing familiarity aside, it is just kind of like sets, acting, costuming, right? Like that's the whole point of the movie. I think the children, the kid actors who play young Kathy and young Heathcliff, I think they were very good, and I actually did enjoy the amount of time we spent with them at the beginning. I think it's important. Which leads me into one of my negatives, right? There's essentially three different time, we'll say, not like time periods, but there's like three different parts of their lives that are sort of explored in this movie. The first time being like when they're children and Heathcliff is brought to them. They're running around with their childhood fancies, like, we're going to be friends forever and all that stuff. The second part is when the house starts to fall in disarray and Edgar and Isabella move in next door. And they're still played then by Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi. And I think there should have been like an intermediary group of actors, because this period of time, they're supposed to be like, I'm not sure how old they're supposed to be, but I got the impression they were supposed to be like teens, maybe possibly like early 20s. I know Doc Martin there says that, Kathy is like spinster age approximately, right? So I don't know what that would have been at the time, but I think there should have been an intermediary group of actors, because that sequence, though fine and fun, when we do the time jump after Heathcliff disappears, it's hard to tell the passage of time. This is another one of my kind of complaints about it. There's a lot of like montages, like too many montages in a movie that's already over 2 hours long. When you throw in montages, it makes the passage of time in the movie kind of like accordion, like it's constricting and expanding. The other issue about these montages is they use very modern music, which almost has like a Baz Luhrmann quality to it to me. It felt very much almost... It didn't feel epic. It felt like Moulin Rouge or something. Like it's just out of time. And when I was so invested in what I saw on screen, to hear modern music, it felt like also something I would see on CW or possibly like a Netflix show. It just didn't quite jive with what I was seeing. Not that you can do it like once, but when you do it that frequently, it starts to feel a little like made for TV hokey. But again, these are just the things that kept it from being truly epic for me. I wish we had more with Edgar, that actor, Shazad Latif. I'm not sure how to pronounce it right. I would have liked more time with him, seeing more of his interactions with Kathy. But of course, it gets covered essentially in a montage, because he has a scene at the end with Heathcliff that I thought was fantastic. I mean, just the actor. He absolutely does a fantastic job, and I just wish we had more time with him, because that moment would have been even more powerful. I don't really care for the modern music, as I've already previously kind of alluded to. I think you can get away with it like once, but I think they overdo it, and it does feel like they're just trying to sell me a soundtrack afterwards, which it just didn't quite work for me. And then, of course, the over 2 hour runtime. I don't think that's completely necessary. There, you could tell people were getting a little like antsy in their seats, like, all right, let's get to it. Let's get to the end, because it's not thematically that deep a film, there's not that much that we need to sit with these characters about. I just feel like there's minutes to be trimmed. There's a lot of like walking and staring at things and montages. Like, cut out a montage for me. I need one to show the passage of time. I don't need, like, there's a montage of them like to music sneaking off constantly. Well, we don't need to see it a bunch of times to know that it's happening a bunch of times, right? We're a pretty smart audience. 2 hour runtime almost kept me out of the theater because I was like, there's no way I'm going to be like gripped for the whole time, and I wasn't. Would I recommend going and seeing this movie? Yeah, I would. Would I recommend seeing it in theaters? I don't recommend going to any movie that's over 2 hours in theaters. Very rarely, especially with the quality of home cinemas being what they are. If I'd been able to watch this at home and pause it and stuff like that, that probably would have been a little bit of a better time. Oh, and one more thing I'll bring up too. If you're worried about it being like overly like smutty or sexual, everything you've seen in the trailers, like, that's about the extent of it in the movie. I was actually caught off guard by the fact that this was the marketing campaign, that they were going to go so full court press on like some of this like more, like, I guess erotic stuff, like very modern things, a lot of stuff with the mouth and fingers, it's not as frequent in the movie as I was expecting. I was expecting something a little more, a little more smutty, but it wasn't. So I was actually kind of grateful for that because I think it would have been a bit much. Overall, it's a pretty good movie. Absolutely nails the ending. I loved it. I thought it was a very good finale. And, you walk out of the theater like with that last sequence and you're like, all right, that was time well spent. Overall, yeah, just a few things kept it shy of greatness. I think it'll probably do well come award season. It's a pretty safe bet. I'm already going to call it right now. I don't think anybody's going to do better than Alison Oliver as Isabella. Just give her Best Supporting Actress. She was fantastic. And truthfully, she's worth watching the movie just for her character's introduction to how it goes, the transformation of her. She's dynamite. Absolutely dynamite. All right, well, if you saw Wuthering Heights, what did you think? How close is it to the book if you've read the book? I'm probably not going to read it, I've got other books to read. Let me know in the comments below. Anyways, guys, until next time.